Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting. This won't be an entire series review, as unfortunately, that can be quite expensive and quite hard to track down. But today, we will be going over quite a few sets from LEGO's arguably most infamous theme, Galidor, Defenders of the Outer Dimension. Now, I'd like to go through my history with Galidor, being that this set, the TNG module, or I think that's what it's called, the egg. Um, this set was a set that was passed down to me from an older sibling. Um, for those of you unaware, I was born in 2000, so uh, I missed Galidor's release by a few years. I wasn't quite old enough to really get into Galidor, but for some reason we had this set. I think it was picked up at a garage sale or something, because from what I know, or the limited research that I've done, this um, this set here was fairly expensive when it came out, and it only has 9 parts. And so when consumers saw, oh, Lego, it only has 9 parts, and it sold for, uh, frankly, I'm not sure, but probably quite a bit. Um, right now it's like, well, yeah, that's a pretty penny to pay. However, it is quite a neat set. Um, it's got the wings on the side, which oddly enough they connect with this little rubber connection there, but that does not move um, up or down on it, even though it's got the little line in the ball joint there. Um, those just connect to the wings. However, uh, and sometimes they can be a little hard because you have to really push because it's rubber connecting into rubber, which also means that they sag a little bit, which is unfortunate. Um, and then you've got the legs here, which are that same rubber connection. However, they do move up and down, which I find kind of weird. You'd think that on the wings they would try and get that so that you could move them in and out, or even flip the ball joint so that you could move it up or down. But for some reason they didn't. Um, this is also the largest quantity of the retired Lego color violet. Um, it's really weird to me that for some reason Galidor got to use violet, because violet is extremely limited as far as Lego colors went. Um, but this set has uh, uh, easily the largest amount of violet that any Lego set ever had. Um, it's also got these windows. Oh, if it doesn't fall off. It's also got these windows here that they both open up, and they're really interesting dual molds, with the clear on the outside, and then violet on the inside. You can also see there's a chair there, for where you can sit Nick Bluetooth, the main lead of Galidor. This is Nick, um, and he's quite an interesting figure. Very articulate, um, or articulatable, I suppose. Um, he can move his head up, down, all around. It's all connected with uh, the ratcheting Technic ball joint system, um, which Lego would continue to use, and even now still continues to use um, in a lot of sets. Uh, so it's kind of neat. However, in the show that Galidor is based off of, uh, or that was created alongside the toy line, I suppose, the egg can fit a lot of people inside of it. And obviously, with the figures already being so big, the design team only made it big enough for one character, and that's kind of a shame. This is something where I think if they made it today, they would probably have the egg be a minifigure face set. And so then you would get a bunch of figures of like Nick and Allegra and Euripides and Jens, maybe even a Gorm. Uh, and then you'd get a build that would probably be about this size, but be designed for figures or minifigures and play. Um, let's see who's going to be our random figure today. Here, Darth Vader uh, is our random figure of the day. This copper prototype Darth Vader. Really cool, by the way. But just to show size comparison, uh, these Galidor is very big compared to the regular Lego system. Now, the thing that fascinates me a lot about Galidor is because, I'm very into Lego. I really like it. It's a great hobby. Um, but I really like some of the weirder things that Lego does or has done. Um, I grew up in the era where a lot of the stuff that I had was just sort of bulk. Um, Lots of bricks, lots of plates and such. And so the really interesting things to me were the specialized molds, like the old Harry Potter sets. The Basilisk and Fluffy and the Phoenix were all unique molds. And like the old adventurers, dinosaurs, and even Scala, which I've taken a look at on this channel. You can go look at that video if you'd like. Um, but they were all created in this era of sort of panic, I suppose, on part of the Lego group, where they weren't sure why they were failing, and they weren't sure if the brick was going to continue to make money. And so they tried to branch out a lot. Um, with like Scala, where you've got its own system that does technically interlock with the Lego system. Um, you've got Bionicle, again, its own unique system that is close with Technic, but also very different. You had Snap or ZNAP, Snap spelled with a Z because it was super cool and in the 90s. Um, or maybe it was early 2000s. I'm not sure, but that is a theme that I kind of want to get into. Um, but Galidor was unique in that, well, because Bionicle they launched with some tie-in products, but not like Galidor. See, Galidor they launched with a live-action TV show, a an ARG of all things, a or multiple video games, which I believe only one saw the light of day. Uh, or well, I guess it depends if you count the Keck Powerizer, which we'll take a look at here in a minute. Um, but that was a in-hand game system that came out with it. All these new pieces, all new molds, even new colors such as dark green, which we have today. Um, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think lime may have also originated with this theme. Uh, I'm not sure about that. Lime could have come from another theme, uh, but I do think Galidor would be a really interesting theme to see Lego take another stab at. I don't think they do figures, and I wouldn't necessarily want them to do uh, the large buildable action figure. Uh, for some reason, that is a thing that Lego has tried to push a lot. Are buildable action figures. Um, I suppose it's because action figures sell really well. Um, and Lego wants to branch into that market. I just I think they're making some of the same mistakes that they made with Galidor, um, where if I'm a kid and I want a Han Solo action figure from the new movie Solo that I loved so much because I'm a small child, uh, I'm probably gonna pick up like the regular action figure. I'm not gonna go, oh, so you want me to spend more money than the regular action figure, and I need to like put it together, and it could potentially like fall apart while I'm like handling it. It's like I don't think that Lego and action figures really go well together, and they've had multiple stabs at it. Because Bionicle, hey, I'll give it to Bionicle. That did well, and Bionicle fans, they really like it. Um, I've got a few Bionicle, but not really a whole lot. Uh, Bionicle was just, it never really caught my interest that much. Um, but they had the Ben 10 sets, which I remember, but I didn't own any of them. I kind of want to get my hands on some of them, just because of how weird they were. But I remember they didn't sell very well because even as a kid, I looked at it and I went, wow, that's a really bad value. Like, you've got like 10 pieces for like $10. Why would I buy that when I can just buy another Star Wars battle pack? Like, um, and then they had Hero Factory, which I think did fairly well, but not well enough to make it an evergreen theme. Um, but getting back to Galidor, let's go ahead and we'll take um, a look at some of the other figures and such. So here we have, and I know one of them's a little cut off. Again, it's because of how tall these figures are. But over here, we have Jens, and that's spelled Jens, I believe. Um, but it's the, I don't even know if that's accurate to call it the Spanish J. Um, but the J doesn't make the J sound, it's more of an H sound. Um, or, well, not even that, because that would make hens. Yeah, I'm not sure. But Jens is how it's pronounced. And he's kind of a cool figure. You may notice that his legs, they look very similar to the T&D module uh, landing gear. However, his legs use the standard Technic pin, whereas the TNG uses a rubber axle. And whoops, he has 4 arms. Um, he also comes with a flamethrower, and I've got that on Gorm Deluxe right now. So we'll take a look at that in a second. But then we've also got the TND module, which we'll go ahead and sit him down. Um, Hopefully that's a better view. Uh, it's a really weird set, um, because as well as being ginormous, which it is, um, it's also because I believe in the show, the main body is called the Keck Powerizer, um, and it's sort of like a cloak that you can put on. And it's very much modeled after Gorm's body. Which we'll go ahead and. This is Gorm. I've got him holding Euripides' staff, and he's got a couple of punch arms on his back. It's the gimmick of Galidor that I actually really like, where you can just add crazy things to all your figures. Um, but you can see that the dual molding inside of Gorm matches up quite well with the dual molding inside of the shoulder there of the Keck Powerizer. However, flipping the Keck Powerizer over, you can see the gamepad back there, which does have these buttons. However, many of the games are controlled by twisting the arms up and down in that ratchet system, which doesn't work too well. As well as you can tell on the bottom of the molds that it's clearly designed to be or to look as though like when you see inside of the legs and stuff, it's all designed to look as though it's gone over Jens, and you even get a Jens head to put inside of the Keck Powerizer. And that's kind of a neat feature, though as I've been like messing around with this and stuff, I think, and I could be entirely wrong, but I think that Jens and Gorm are the only characters whose heads actually affect the Keck Powerizer when you turn it on. Everyone else, if you can get their heads in there, it comes off as very neutral. Like it doesn't have a real reaction, which is kind of a shame. While we're here, we might as well talk about Jens's head because it's actually pretty neat. So we'll go ahead and we'll take the Keck Powerizer down. But so Jens's head here, both of the knobs on the side of his head turn, and so one of them controls the length of the little antennas on the top there, and then the other one controls the length of Jens's eye. Um, if I can get that to work, yeah, you should be able to see that it's really long there. And actually, we should compare the two of those, and you should be able to see pretty clearly that it makes a significant difference. And it's a cool piece where you've got 5 different colors all in this one piece. You've got old dark gray, old light gray, um, orange, which I believe that's earth orange. I could be wrong. It's kind of a shame because nowadays we only really have the one shade of. But back in the day, we got multiple different shades of orange, and all these colors on the helmet, or not helmet, head. Well, it depends because technically Jens is a cyborg, so I don't know if you would define putting your brain into something as a head or a helmet, but either one, I guess. But and you've even got the silver painting on the front there, and black painting for the eye, and all that is really cool. It's all really neat detail, and that brings us to our next topic, which is the McDonald's tie-ins. Now I have all of the McDonald's tie-ins, which I was actually able to pick up for like $20. So which isn't great, because as far as I'm aware, with most things, I don't know, it's not my realm of collecting, but I think with most uh, McDonald's Happy Meal like toy releases, um, it's hard to track down them all, but I was able to get all 5 of these, and these are from 2002, mind you. And I was able to get all of them for $20. So it kind of shows Galidor how much it's worth today. Though, don't let that fool you, because some Galidor things, like Taggart, or I think it said a quart, those figures are quite expensive and rare. So if you get your hands on one of those, please let me know. But so you'll notice I've got 4 here, and then I bought, sealed in the bag, number 5, yen, or sorry, not yens, Nepal. And so I'm going to actually open this up so that we can see what would have come in your McDonald's Happy Meal in 2002 when you opened these up. So, taking our handy Mr. Knife and cutting open the package, we'll be very careful not to damage this over 20-year-old packaging, um, which is crazy to think about for me. But, I mean, that's 2002 air that we just let out there. Um, but so if we move our other Galidor McDonald's figures back, we can dump this out onto the table, put our knife away, and then you can see we get a little paper, which is the part that I am not familiar with. And so it's got this poster on the back of Galidor, which actually has all of the figures, which is kind of neat. It is a little weird. Allegra's hair there is, I wonder, now that I'm looking at it, I wonder if that's a not released version of Allegra. Because you can see her hair there, it appears to be rendered in like a dark brown instead of black. Um, and then her legs are in black. Her torso is in orange. And her torso is more of a hoodie in this image rather than on the actual figure. So I wonder if that's actually an unreleased one. Because Galidor did have quite a few unreleased sets, some of which made it into the marketing. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was unreleased. And then this is kind of neat because these are instructions. However, from what I remember when I bought most of my Galidor collection from someone, the rest of them, the instructions are not very helpful. I mean, this is 3 pieces, so it's pretty easy to just put together. We'll go ahead and we'll move those off to the side because me, being an expert builder, I don't need the instructions. So clearly we take the legs, we put the head into the legs, and then the torso, we put the arms down, and we pop it on top like that. That's clearly how it goes together. Yeah, that's a shame. We'll have to find him later. Not sure where our Vader fig went, so we get a surprise bonus number 2 minifigure for scaling. And you can see that all of the figures, even the shorter ones, their legs are about the height of a regular minifig. So again, they're still quite big, and that's where the disappointment comes in for me in this, which I don't, because I don't know, I've never ran Lego, or any toy company for that matter, but it seems weird to me that apart from one of these figures, or well, apart from 2 of these figures, we'll say, uh, I don't understand why they wouldn't just use the heads made for the sets, particularly with Yen's. Because if we take our Yen's head that we've got right here from the set, which they already were overproducing because they had to put it in the Keck Powerizer as well. But if we take that off, you can see that it does click into the regular body there, or the Happy Meal toy body. And I've actually got an extra of Yen's. And so you can see they're the same size, but one has a lot more playability, in that you can rotate the knobs, and the eye extends, and the antenna or hair comes out. Um, but now the head can be more articulate, moving up and down, whereas the other one cannot do that because it's on a single rubber axle. Um, and then, you get all those colors in there. And it looks a lot better overall. And I don't understand why they wouldn't just put this head with the Happy Meal toy. Um, and the same goes for Nepal, where if we take a look here, now Nepal's figurehead is a little bit bigger than the Happy Meal toy. Um, but I mean, it's not that much bigger, and you do get, a lot of more play value out of it, in that he's got his goggles that can go up and down. Um, um, it can articulate up and down, um, but you don't get that with the single mold with the rubber axle. Um, and I mean, they added some printing for the eyes, which is nice because Jens, he gets some printing, but not for his eye, which is weird. I don't know why you would, paint the orange on the outside, but not do the black. And it's not that they couldn't have multiple colors on these. When we take a look at Nick Bluetooth, um, taking a look at Nick here, he's got white, blue, black, and silver printing. Not to mention the speckled silver printing all along his arm. Uh, it strikes me as weird that they didn't, simply just use the pieces that they were already making from the sets. Um, because it makes them a lot less desirable. Where even taking a look at like Gorm here, Gorm only has one color printed on his head, whereas the head from the set, which I believe also came with the Keck Powerizer, and so was also being mass produced. Um, it's got a dual mold with that dark gray in there, as well as three different colors, being lime, blue, and a little bit of, I think that's classic purple? No, dark red. Sorry. A little bit of dark red printing. But, just taking a look at the Gorm with the head from the set versus the Gorm that came with the Happy Meal, you can see a clear difference. I find it odd. I have never ran a toy company again, but I would have thought that it would be cheaper just to take the piece that they're already producing and add it to the Happy Meal toy rather than making another piece. But maybe there were complications. Who knows? It's also a little weird to me that Gorm and Jens, they come with little staffs, which are kind of neat. The Jens one, I actually have one somewhere in all my bulk that I never knew what it was, but I do now. Of course, it was Galidor. Uh, But the odd thing is that, so Nepal, whose figure does come with the staff, or the actual figure, here we'll take that head off and put on the one that came with it. Uh, his actual figure has a staff. He not only does not come with a staff, but he can't even hold a staff, um, which is really weird. Euripides, another character whose figure comes with a staff. And again, he cannot hold a staff. And Euripides is really interesting to me. But we'll come back to him in just a second. Because then you have Nick, where Nick does not come with a staff. The closest he comes with is a map, which I don't have that piece. I would like to get it, but he, it almost requires buying Nick Bluetooth Deluxe because the piece on its own is very hard to track down. But his little robot arm here, or his Glinch arm, which I would assume that's what that's supposed to be, but maybe with all the crap on his head, maybe he's a cyborg now. Maybe one of his battles against Gorm went horribly, horribly wrong. But his little robot arm can hold a staff. And I find that really odd. You'd think that they'd want to give them all like a staff, or, in Nick's case, you could give them a map. Um, but for some reason, only Jens and Gorm came with staffs, which Gorm, his staff kind of looks like the shooter that the Gorm Deluxe figure came with. But, that's about it. I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe regular Gorm came with a staff. And Jens definitely didn't, but they have staffs here. And then lastly on these figures, with Euripides, talking about differences between the figures. Now the legs, even the arms, for the most part, they got correct. They're a little skinnier, I suppose, than they should be. Where this is the body of Euripides from the set. And you can see that the head slouches forward there, where they weren't able to capture that on the Happy Meals toy. That's why I'm kind of fine with the fact that they made that head right there. They made a new mold, and that's fine with me. But it does seem kind of weird because when you look at the two heads, when you put them side by side, you notice that because they are, I understand why a new mold was needed. But the Happy Meal Euripides has a ponytail right there, which the large Euripides does not come with. However, the large Euripides does have a hole in the top of his head. And now, if we go ahead and we'll clear off this whole table just for this, we'll save our little minifigure friend so that we don't have to get a third one. But we just clear off the whole table, then we can go ahead and bam, it's Allegra. No more allergies for me. But Allegra does have an interesting and weird feature in that she's got a hole in the top of her head. No, I don't mean the mouth, or the eyes, or the ears, or the nose, Ant-Man. I mean in the back of her head. And no, she didn't get shot. You can remove her ponytail, apparently. And so Allegra is a figure that I don't own. Or well, I do now, but just sealed in the box. Which is kind of neat to actually get an experience of what it would be like to open a Galidor figure back in 2002. Um, I do think it's really neat that the boxes are all molded to look like the TND module. Like that is really cool to me. Um, and on the back, you can see uh, they've got like a lot of the toy line. Most of the ones that were broadly available are here on the back, which is good. Uh, um, so it's neat. It is odd. I'm really curious to play with that thing that Allegra has. I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's like a little like robot, like snake dog thing. Um, it wasn't in the show apparently, which the show I have only seen the first 3 episodes of, and wow, it's something to talk about, but not at this time. Um, and it's weird because on the bottom, you can see it's got Nick Bluetooth Deluxe, and it shows how you can glinch with Allegra, which is really weird because Allegra cannot glinch canonically, um, but she can do karate. Um, but so yeah, without further ado, I think we're gonna go ahead and open this up. And that's kind of neat. The little instruction pamphlet is actually like kept in place, which is kind of neat. It makes sure, which I mean, this is folded, so it doesn't really matter too much. But it'd be nice if modern day Lego sets had something like that to keep the instructions from bending in such a way that makes it really hard to keep them open. That, or maybe Lego should include a paperweight so that I can read the instructions. Um, the packaging is mostly intact. Uh, it is a little weird, where you've got this special molding here to allow the Allegra head to sit in there properly. But without the Allegra head in there, and this may be hard to see on the camera, but looks like they may have stopped the ship a little too fast. Left a dent, an Allegra-sized dent in the windshield. But so we'll move the package off to the side, and that's the interior little paper. We'll move that off to the side. Um, and then it looks like we're going to have to. It's really weird to think that this is how it would come, where it's mostly assembled. And, because I'm such an expert builder. So when I went to open the instructions while I was making my super hilarious joke about not using the instructions, it folded or it fell out. This little Lego Club ad, which you've got Nick Bluetooth in English, join the Lego Club free. And that's a really weird, I've never seen that logo for Lego Club. Huh. Let's see. Just a pretty standard advertisement, I suppose, for Lego Club. You could cut it apart and send them your personal information, but we won't do that today. Taking a look at the instructions. Yes, these are definitely what I remember. Yeah, they're really unbearable to fold out. And yeah, you've got advertising for the PlayStation 2 slash CD-ROM Galidor game that I don't think actually came out. But yeah, and then you've just got the same poster, but bigger, from the Happy Meal toy on that side. And then the other side is just like a big poster. And so there aren't any real instructions, which is weird. Because for this it's fine, right? I can put this together. It's a person, easy enough. But for like the Oni or Uni, or the Nepal and Shimmel, they're a bit more complicated. Oni, or from what I could tell, how to put together Oni, or at least mostly, in a way that looks somewhat coherent. Yeah, it's really weird. But like, its instruction pamphlet is essentially the same. Or at least from what I could remember. I didn't get Oni new in box, so I could be wrong, but I just remember that being incredibly frustrating, not knowing how to put together this really strange creature. It's really weird, because the Lager's arms are designed differently than the rest of the sets, where the rest of the sets, most arms are made to glinch. I guess Nepal's arms are stuck together. But most arms are a half arm section and then an upper arm section, whereas Allegra's are fixed in place, so that she can do her karate, I guess. Seems really weird. But then you've got on the back of her head, like I was saying before, we'll see how well this comes out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and this is a rubber pin, much like the Happy Meal toys and the T&D module. But yeah, she's got that hole in the back of her head. If we want to use the amazing system of Galidor, we can like have an arm coming out of her head. Yeah, Galidor was weird. that's for sure. But I do want to see if we take. I've got Euripides with the Keck Powerizer armor, but if we put in a Lager's ponytail, does that make it look similar to the McDonald's toy? And the answer is no, it does not. And it's really weird, because like I said, I've seen 3 episodes of the TV show, and I don't recall seeing the back of Euripides' head I think he had a ponytail. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Galidor. If I had to describe Galidor, defenders of the outer dimension, it it would have to be like like in The Last of Us, they've got a comic book that they read. Um, and like it's got really ridiculous like looking characters, or oftentimes in like a Marvel or DC show, if they've got a comic book that isn't just Marvel or DC, um, but they've made one up for the show, um, like that's what Galidor feels like to me. It feels like a made up, ludicrous piece of media inside of a piece of media. Like some bizarre children's show that you'd see them watching in Spy Kids or something. But Galidor was real. And like it's so bizarre to me. But really, if you don't have a Galidor set, if you've got any interest in them, I'd highly recommend picking one up because, I mean, they're weird, for sure. Absolutely. No doubts about that. But they're really high quality. And like, you've got so many dual molds, triple molds, where like the Cowriser legs, um, you've got uh, you've got a triple mold here of dark gray and light gray in the old grays, and then black, of course. But then you've got dark gray printing on black, which actually looks really good. Then you've got silver printing on black. Again, looks pretty good. But then you've also got light gray molded into the bottom of the foot. And so, you've got a triple mold there with multiple different colors printed on it. Um, you know, you've got so many interesting and neat and wacky pieces to play with, and they all interconnect, and you can make such like strange things and monstrosities. You can make like Spider Nick. It's this terrifying monster from your nightmares or whatever. But really, Galidor is a lot of fun. I see why it failed. I see why a lot of people look at it as like, oh yeah, that's weird. Like I don't want that. But really, if you haven't given it a shot, I really would recommend that you give it a shot. Um, Cause yeah, it's really neat. And so yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Hi there. Before the bye byes, let me just sort of give you a. So most of this Galidor video, um, was filmed quite a while ago, which is why I'm pretty sure the audio might sound different, um, as well as everything looks a bit different. But I've picked up a few other Galidor things since, and so I wanted to add those into the video. And so, without further ado, we'll go from sort of the most commonly known, which is this Galidor comic book. Um, I'm not even sure how they like released this, and it's weird, right? Because it's called a comic book, And from the outside here, like that might be what you're inclined to think it is. Uh, you might think that this is a sort of regular comic book, um, but it's not really. It's just sort of, it's like a Lego magazine, but just for Galidor. Um, to the point where like it is extremely thin. Um, like I think it maybe has 4 pages. But so we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at that. Um, and I mean, I got this off of Mercari for like $2, so um, not super bad. But like you can see um, immediately that like it's not a comic book. Um, so much as like it has lore in it. Um, like from the show and stuff, uh, which is kind of interesting. Um, and then like it's got these little, um, it's a little hard to see on the camera. They're a little blown out by the light, but you can kind of see now that they've got these spots with secret messages that it's the old, they printed a whole bunch of red text on top of blue text. And so if you had your Exploratron, was that what they were called? Explorion sets, you could decode them. Or, and I'm not even sure how these were released, but I got this from a Bricklink order. But they had Galidor trading cards. And so we've got our Allegra trading card here. That it's got that little red window on it. And so if you put it down on top, it'll show you just the blue text. And that one's kind of a long paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and we'll brighten the light again. Um, but so we won't. I'm not gonna like read through this whole comic, just because it's basically lore, and I'm sure you could find it somewhere if you really wanted to. Um, but like, and again, this trading card, it's got that really weird, like, I don't know how that was a promotional image, but it's got that version of Allegra that has dark brown hair, um, as well as an orange sort of like hoodie thing. Um, Not a version of the character we ever got. But I do think it's interesting that the comic here, um, it talks about key fragments, um, and that apparently they come together to form this egg. That seems like a weird, because like now definitely, if Galidor came out now, Lego for sure would put a key fragment in each set, so that you had to buy all the sets to get all the key fragments. But for some reason they didn't do that then, and I do really think that if Lego made a small, like, minifigure scale Galidor theme, I know you wouldn't be able to glitch. Like, maybe you include different Nick Bluetooth torsos in all of them. Though this comic, because I did read through it, it reveals that apparently everyone has the ability to glitch, but that that Nick can do it on command, or something like that. Nick has some special ability to glitch, or because everyone else needs like it's like a trade or something. But like Nick, he just has to see something and then he can glitch it. Um, and apparently Gorm is trying to steal his glitch energy. Um, which is just, like, I don't know, man. It's so weird to me how much like lore the Galidor like sets have. That they like, because they came out swinging basically when it came to all their different like lore that they had. Um, and it is a little unfortunate because you can see on this spread that they've got the two other villains other than Gorm, which apparently they were released, but they were limited releases, and so now they're really, really expensive, which is not great. Really wish that wasn't the case. Would have loved to be able to have those, but unfortunately they are extremely rare and hard to track down. Um, but yeah, you can see uh, which. So it's really weird. They've got like all these images of the different ways that you can glitch, which is really weird because they show on this one that like Nick's body is glitched, but they also say that um, you're able to like up in that top corner. Um, yeah, he says explicitly that it's his arms and legs that he's able to glitch. Um, However, you can definitely see that like he's using Gorm's body. Um, and also, like, what is he glitching if he's got two extra arms? Like, I don't understand. like, uh, I don't know. It's such a weird and like you've got all these like cursed figures and um, I still find it funny that the actual lore is that Nepal um, there in the corner that like he was some like military general of Galidor, and then Gorm like decided to make him short. Like that's the actual lore is that Gorm made him shorter. Um, like that, like that, like that's so weird to me. That like yeah, Gorm chose not to kill him, but just to make him like 2 feet shorter. So that's his vendetta. Um, but and then like you can see there, uh, it's so weird. They've got the quote there. Of course, once some people get glitching, they don't know when to stop. It's like, that's weird. Especially because later, I think on this next page, maybe, uh, they. No, this is just the Keck Powerizer advertiser page. Um, it's probably this last page, I think. No, it's mentioned somewhere. Somewhere in the book they mention that apparently Nick's like Nick's glitch energy that he's only got so much of it, and that like if he runs out, he won't be able to glitch. Which I don't know if they ever dealt with that in the show, but yeah, that seems weird. Like, is he stuck with like a random arm that's not his? Like what happens then? But we don't get any answers on that. Um, However, I do have one other piece of Galidor merchandise to show off. So this other piece, I don't know when it was made, or how it was released, or who it was even given to. But again, another Mercari find, for $2 again. Uh, they were selling it like they had a pack of random pins. But I told them I just want the Galidor pin. Um, but so yeah, so it's a Galidor pin. It's all metal. But you can see on the other side, it's got sort of safety pin clip. But like it's a weird, like, it's a Galidor poster that they just turned into a pin. I don't know, like, legitimately, if anyone knows where this came from, I would love to know. Uh, Cause yeah, like I just like, did they give these out to like Lego store employees? Cause that wouldn't make sense. Cause it says in the action figure aisle, and so you wouldn't have that if you were in the Lego store. Like, did they give them out to like random employees? Like, I don't know. It seems weird that, like, because obviously a lot of merch is just like marketing for the product, but this is explicitly just marketing for the product. It says in the action figure aisle on it, like, that's all this is marketing. Like, it's just a poster that they put on a pin. But and like, there's not even a Bricklink listing for these, so I don't know like how rare this is. But so yeah, so if any of you have any idea on this pin, please let me know. Um, but yeah, so I just sort of wanted to add this addendum to the Galidor video. So I'll get back to past me, to tell you all. Well, I'm sure I'll let him take it from here. Just overall takeaway is that Galidor is really cool. And you should give it a shot. Gorm, with Jens's flamethrower. That's Jens's flamethrower. Again, another really cool piece. You've got like hard rubber, or well, maybe that's plastic. No, that's plastic. But you've got black, dark gray, silver printing, um, light gray for the pin, all in one piece. And then you've got Gorm, which he has a missile on his arm. I think that actually came with Gorm Deluxe. Or maybe this is Gorm Deluxe. I don't know. But, oh, no, it's the hand. The hand comes with regular Gorm. And then the rest of this is Gorm Deluxe. But you actually, if you touch his weenus there, you can get the missile to pop off. Um, and yeah, it's so weird. But yeah, so if you haven't given Galidor a try, I'd highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.